Today is Monday, March 14th. What to know about Russian airstrikes hitting a Ukrainian military base just miles from Poland. It's the closest missiles have landed to NATO territory so far. And we'll tell you about the first American journalist killed while covering this war. Also, millions of people are now on lockdown again in China. It could have a global impact. Plus, what extra fee Uber will be charging soon. He's back. Tom Brady has changed his mind. And why today's date has its own annual holiday. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Well, unfortunately, Russian attacks on Ukraine continue to intensify and become more widespread. One of the latest attacks is the closest Russian missiles have landed to NATO territory so far. Russian airstrikes hit a military base in western Ukraine. Ukrainian officials say at least 35 people are dead, more than 100 others are hurt. The base is used for training and is said to be a crucial hub for cooperation between Ukraine and NATO. Some American service members were reportedly told to leave the base just last month. The base is only about 10 to 20 miles from the Polish border. And remember, Poland is a member of NATO. So American officials continue to warn Russia the U.S. will defend, quote, every inch of NATO territory. That any attack on Poland or other members, even accidentally, would bring a response using the full force of the alliance. Many other parts of Ukraine were hit in the last few days as well. In eastern Ukraine, for example, airstrikes hit a westward-bound train evacuating people, including children. Ukrainian officials say Russian forces have kidnapped at least 2 cities' mayors. And hundreds of thousands of people are said to be trapped in the Ukrainian port city of Mariupol. A Russian bomb destroyed the city's main emergency services building over the weekend, cutting one of the last remaining links to the outside world. The International Committee of the Red Cross says time is running out for people there, and it's calling for a humanitarian agreement ASAP. Also, a 9-story apartment building was reportedly shelled early this morning in the capital city of Kyiv. And Russian forces have been firing on suburbs of the capital over the weekend. In fact, an award-winning American filmmaker and journalist was killed near the capital yesterday. He's thought to be the first journalist on assignment from an American news organization to be killed while reporting on this war, and the first foreign journalist known to be killed too. Time magazine confirmed Brent Renault was in Ukraine working for its TV and film division on a series about the global refugee crisis. Time put out a statement saying, quote, "Our hearts are with all of Brent's loved ones. It is essential that journalists are able to safely cover this ongoing invasion and humanitarian crisis in Ukraine." There are more peace talks planned today between Ukrainian and Russian officials, and both sides have expressed at least some optimism that, despite everything, there could be some progress and a chance for more civilians to evacuate. Meanwhile, top U.S. and Chinese officials plan to meet today as well to talk about Russia's attacks on Ukraine. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan will meet with his Chinese counterpart in Rome. But just ahead of today's meeting, new reports say Russia has asked China for help, including a request for military equipment and financial aid. Sullivan publicly warned China not to help Russia evade global sanctions, or else, quote, there will absolutely be consequences. At this point, China's government is claiming they have not heard anything about this. The Biden administration has also accused China of spreading disinformation for Russia. About 17 million people are now under lockdown in China. 2 of China's largest cities put new restrictions in place because of the rising number of COVID-19 cases there. Now, China still has far fewer cases than most countries, but Reuters reports the number of new cases yesterday was the highest daily figure in 2 years, and triple the number of new cases from the day prior. So now, the southern tech hub of Shenzhen announced a lockdown for at least the next 7 days. All non-essential workers must stay home, buses and trains have stopped running, and adults have to get 3 COVID tests in the coming days. And this will likely have a global impact. Not only is Shenzhen a tech hub, it also has one of the world's largest ports. When an outbreak in Shenzhen happened last year, it caused a surge in global shipping rates. Already this time, the main Chinese maker of the iPhone and other Apple products announced it's having to pause operations there. And the financial hub, Shanghai, also announced new restrictions, but not a complete lockdown. Instead, most residents cannot leave the city unless it's really necessary. All right, we have much more news coming up, but first, this podcast is sponsored by Masterworks. We all know Oprah Winfrey is a role model, icon, and billionaire media mogul. But our sponsor Masterworks points out she's also an art investor. In 2006, Oprah reportedly purchased a painting by Gustav Klimt at Christie's for an astounding $88 million. Then she resold it for $150 million in 2016. That's a staggering $62 million in profit. She's not necessarily doing it because she's rich. From what I can tell with everything she does, she's a business genius. So why doesn't everyone get involved in the blue chip art market? Of course, most don't have millions to buy paintings outright, like Oprah. But thanks to the company Masterworks, the high-cost barrier has come crumbling down. Now you can invest in masterpieces by Picasso, Warhol, and Banksy without building a media empire first. And yes, they're giving the Newsworthy listeners access. So what are you waiting for? Head to masterworks.art/newsworthy to learn more. That's masterworks.art/newsworthy. See important Regulation A disclosures at masterworks.io/CD. Well, as of midnight Monday in Russia, internet users there can no longer access Instagram. Russia officially banned it on Friday, but gave the 80 million Russian users the weekend to say goodbye on the app. Russia is blaming Instagram's parent company, Meta, for allowing calls for violence against Russian soldiers. It's because Meta made a temporary exception to the rules to allow for violent speech like death to the Russian invaders, though it still will not allow for calls for violence against civilians. Russian authorities already blocked access to Facebook and limited access to Twitter. Meanwhile, the big tech companies have blocked Russian state media from using their platforms to spread propaganda. The world-renowned Metropolitan Opera in New York City is drumming up support for Ukraine with a benefit concert today. The 70-minute concert will open up with the Ukrainian national anthem and feature a piece called Prayer for Ukraine by a Ukrainian composer. And all the sold-out ticket sales and donations are going to relief efforts in Ukraine. The Met's manager said it's to show Ukraine that the Met and the artistic community are rallying together to support them. The concert for Ukraine will be broadcast across radio stations around the world today, and it'll stream on the Met's website starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. Just 6 weeks into retirement, the 7-time Super Bowl champ Tom Brady changed his mind. He announced he's coming out of retirement and will play another season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's right. Brady tweeted last night, quote, "These past 2 months, I've realized my place is still on the field and not in the stands. That time will come, but it's not now." The 2022 season will become his 23rd season playing in the NFL. And just a day before he broke that news, the football great cheered on a soccer great. Tom Brady was in the stands when Cristiano Ronaldo scored a hat trick, aka 3 goals in 1 game, and set a professional soccer record. On Saturday, Ronaldo etched his name in the record books as FIFA's all-time leading scorer with 807 goals. Get your brackets ready. It's that time of year again, March Madness. College basketball's regular season is over, and we now know which teams will be competing in the men's and women's NCAA Division I tournaments. Selection Sunday, as it's called, revealed for the second straight year, Gonzaga University clinched the #1 overall seed for the men. Arizona, Kansas, and Baylor earned the other #1 seeds. And for the women's, as expected, South Carolina is the #1 overall seed, along with North Carolina State, Stanford, and Louisville. And for the first time ever, this year's women's bracket has expanded to include 68 teams, which will match the men. The first 4 March Madness games are happening tomorrow and Wednesday, and the final championship game is scheduled for April 4th. Movie fans are mourning the loss of an Oscar-winning actor, William Hurt. He was a leading man in movies from the 80s, like in Broadcast News, Body Heat, and Kiss of the Spider-Woman. He also became known by the younger generation for his role in the Marvel Universe. His son says he lost his battle with cancer. He was 71. But while Hollywood paid tribute to one of its own last night, big names also came together to celebrate each other at the Critics' Choice Awards. The Power of the Dog took the top honors of Best Picture and Best Director. On the TV side, Ted Lasso led the pack with several awards, while Succession won the drama category and Mare of Easttown nabbed Best Limited Series. Halle Berry won the See Her Award for boundary pushing, while Jimmy Kimmel honored Billy Crystal with the Lifetime Achievement Award. Coming up next this award season, the Oscars on March 27th. Have you heard of Pi Day? Well, it's today. It happens every year on March 14th. Pi is the famous mathematical constant represented by the Greek letter. It's the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. And while the Guinness World Record says the most accurate value for pi is more than 62 trillion digits, it's rounded to 3.14. So today's date, 314, is the first 3 numbers of pi. The day also brings some fun discounts and deals for pizzas and pies. Yes, this time we're talking about the kind you eat. For example, 7-Eleven marks Pie Day with a deal on an entire pizza for rewards members for just $3.14. Well, that's it for the main news today. So now it's time for Money Monday, when we talk about one interesting money-related news story. But first, a message from our sponsor, Indeed. We can give you the news you need to know for the day, but when it comes to hiring for your business, you need a platform that's just as powerful in delivering quality candidates for your search. And that is Indeed. Indeed is the hiring partner where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Indeed is the only job site where you're guaranteed to find quality applications that meet your must-have requirements, or else you don't pay. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites hoping to find candidates with the right skills, you need one powerful hiring partner that can help you do it all. I love that you can depend on Indeed. There's a reason it's the #1 job site worldwide. And according to Talent Nest, Indeed delivers 4 times more hires than all other job sites combined. So start hiring right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/newsworthy. The offer is valid through March 31st. Go to Indeed.com/newsworthy to claim your $75 credit before March 31st. Indeed.com/newsworthy. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Okay, now back to Money Monday. So get ready for your next Uber ride to be a little more expensive. Uber says its drivers are feeling the pain at the pump right now with those record high gas prices, so it's adding on an extra fuel fee. The company says the temporary fuel charge will impact both rides and deliveries. So for your next Uber ride or Uber Eats delivery, it'll cost you an extra 35 to 55 cents depending on location. Uber says the fee goes straight into drivers' pockets to offset the high gas prices. The extra fee will be nationwide with one exception, New York City, since drivers there already got a pay raise this month under the city's minimum wage law. For everyone else, the extra fee starts on Wednesday and will stick around for at least 2 months. Uber says it'll then be tracking gas prices and listening to worker and customer feedback before it makes any more adjustments. The fee comes as a lot of Uber drivers are taking to social media to question if the gig is even worth it, since gas prices are eating into their earnings. At last check, AAA says the average price of gasoline is the highest on record at $4.33 a gallon compared to $2.85 just 1 year ago. All right, thank you so much for listening today and every day. We'll be back with much more news to know tomorrow. For now, have a great day.